If you're a man past 50 and you've been trying to build muscle by just piling more weight on the bar every week, I need to be honest with you. That approach is probably doing more harm than good. I know because I spent years believing the same thing. I figured if it felt heavy, it had to be working. But all I got was stiff shoulders, angry knees, and a body that looked about the same month after month. My chest didn't change, my arms didn't change, and the only thing that grew was the list of joints that ached when I woke up in the morning. Here's the truth. You don't need more weight to build muscle after 50. What you need is more tension, applied the right way. And once I understood that difference, everything shifted. That's exactly why I want to walk you through a training style called Tricon training. It's the approach that finally got me building real functional muscle in my 60s without grinding my joints into dust. I'm going to explain exactly what it is and why it works so well for men our age. I'm also going to show you how to start using it today, even if you train in a garage like I do. And stick with me until the end because I've got a tip on how to push this method further with two intensity techniques that honestly surprised me with how effective they were. My name is Jack Turner. I'm 64 years old. I live in Franklin, Tennessee with my wife, Karen. I've got 2 grown kids, 3 grandchildren, and 37 years in construction and field operations behind me. I'm not a trainer. I'm not a doctor. I'm not selling you a miracle. I'm a man who spent decades carrying responsibility on his back, literally and figuratively, and who woke up at 58 years old realizing his body was falling apart because he never learned how to take care of it properly. When I finally committed to changing things at 59, I started with the basics. Walking every day, eating more protein, getting into a simple strength routine in my garage. And that foundation changed my life. But when I discovered Tricon training about a year into my journey, that's when I saw a real difference in how my muscles responded, especially at my age, especially with a body that had decades of wear from field work. That's what made the difference for me, and I want to share it with you. So let me explain why traditional training stops working the way you expect once you're past 50. Your muscles can still grow. That part hasn't changed. The science is clear on that. But here's what has changed. Your recovery doesn't bounce back like it used to. Your connective tissue, your tendons, your ligaments, they've lost some of their elasticity over the years. Collagen production slows down. The cartilage in your joints gets thinner. So when you keep hammering away with heavy loads week after week, you're putting more stress on your joints than on your actual muscles. That's why so many men our age feel beat up all the time. It's not that your body can't grow anymore. It's that the strategy you're using to make it grow is wrong. The answer isn't heavier weight. It's lifting smarter. And Tricon training is the smartest approach I've found for men like us. Here's how it works. Every Tricon set is 9 reps total, broken into 3 distinct phases. Each phase does something different, and when you combine them, you get more muscle stimulation in one set than most guys get in 3 regular sets, without needing to load up weight that's going to wreck your shoulders or your knees. The first 3 reps are explosive. You lower the weight under control, about 2 to 3 seconds on the way down, and then you drive it back up with real intent. Not reckless, not sloppy, but with force and purpose. This wakes up your nervous system. It fires up more motor units and activates your fast twitch muscle fibers, which are the ones most responsible for building strength and size. These are the fibers that start going dormant when you stop challenging them, and after 50, most men aren't challenging them at all. The next 3 reps are isometric holds. You lower the weight under control just like before, but on the way back up, you stop and hold the weight in the mid-range of the movement. If you're using dumbbells, a Smith machine, or plate-loaded equipment, you hold at the midpoint. If you're using bands or cables, you hold at the top where the muscle is fully shortened and contracted. Each hold lasts anywhere from 3 to 10 seconds, depending on where you are in your training. When I started, I held for about 3 seconds, and that was plenty. Over time, I built up to 5, then eventually 10 seconds on my stronger lifts. This phase is where the real magic happens. It creates enormous time under tension. It forces deeper fiber recruitment, and it makes lighter weights feel like they're working twice as hard. You don't need a loaded barbell to feel this. A pair of adjustable dumbbells in your garage will do the job if you're holding with real focus. The final 3 reps are slow reps. Everything slows down. You lower the weight for a full 3 seconds. You lift it back up for another 3 seconds. Full range of motion, total control, no momentum. This burns out every remaining fiber. It floods the muscle with metabolic stress and finishes the set with the kind of deep fatigue that tells your body it needs to adapt and grow. That's 9 reps, 1 Tricon set. And if you do it right, honestly, 1 set feels like you've done 3 normal sets combined. The first time I tried this on a set of goblet squats in my garage, I had to sit down afterward. Not because something was wrong, because I'd never felt my legs work that hard with that little weight. It was a humbling and eye-opening experience. Now let me break down why this works so well, especially for men our age. Because understanding the why is what keeps you committed when the novelty wears off and discipline has to carry you. First, the isometric holds. When you hold a weight in a fixed position, you create constant tension on the muscle without needing heavy loads. That's critical after 50 because it protects your joints while still delivering real muscle stimulation. But there's more to it than that. Isometrics actually strengthen your tendons and ligaments. Research shows that static holds increase tendon stiffness and promote collagen production in the connective tissue. Over time, this makes your joints more resilient, not less. That's the opposite of what heavy traditional lifting does to most older men. Instead of wearing your joints down, you're actually building them up. I can speak to this personally. I came into training with chronic lower back tightness from years of field work and a mild shoulder irritation that flared up anytime I pushed too hard. Within a few months of incorporating isometric holds into my routine, both of those issues calmed down significantly. Not because I stopped training, because I started training in a way that respected what my body actually needed. Second, Tricon training dramatically improves your mind-muscle connection. When you hold a weight in a fixed position and focus on keeping it there, you can't cheat. You can't use momentum. You have to actually feel the muscle working. And that awareness carries over into every rep you do after that. Your brain learns to fire the right fibers at the right time, which means every set, every workout, every week becomes more effective because you're actually using the muscles you're trying to build. For a lot of men our age, this is the missing piece. We spent years just moving weight from point A to point B without ever really connecting to the muscle. Tricon training forces that connection, and once you have it, you don't lose it. Third, and this is important, Tricon training gives you all 3 of the main drivers of muscle growth in 1 set: mechanical tension, metabolic stress, and muscle damage. Explosive reps recruit the fast twitch fibers and generate mechanical tension. Isometric holds extend time under tension and deepen fiber recruitment. Slow reps finish the set with metabolic stress that triggers the hormonal and cellular signals your body needs to grow. That's the full package, and you get it all in 9 reps without having to load a bar with weight that makes your joints scream. For a man in his 60s training in a garage, that's not just effective, it's sustainable. And sustainability is what matters when you're not chasing a 6-week transformation. You're building a body that carries you through your 70s and beyond. So how do you actually put Tricon sets into your workouts? Here's what I'd suggest based on what's worked for me. Start with 1 or 2 key exercises per muscle group and apply the Tricon method to those. You don't need to make every set a Tricon set. You apply it strategically to the lifts where you want maximum growth and recruitment, and then finish with a more traditional exercise to round things out. For example, a chest-focused session might look like this: incline press, 3 Tricon sets; cable flies or band flies, 3 Tricon sets. Then finish with dips or push-ups for 3 sets of 8 to 10 normal reps. If you don't have cables, incline push-ups work fine. I did this for months before I added any cable work. A back workout might be Tricon rows for 3 sets, Tricon lat pull-downs for 3 sets, and then dumbbell pullovers for 3 sets of 10 to 12 normal reps. Rows are one of my favorite exercises anyway. They build the kind of pulling strength that keeps you functional and upright. Adding the Tricon method to rows made them twice as effective for me. For legs, Tricon goblet squats or Tricon leg presses for 3 sets, Tricon leg extensions for 3 sets, then Romanian deadlifts for 3 sets of 8 to 10 normal reps. Goblet squats are perfect for this because they're joint friendly, they build real leg strength, and they don't require a heavy barbell on your back. I've been doing goblet squats since I started training, and they've never let me down. The key is this: apply the Tricon method to the exercises that matter most, and use standard sets to fill in the rest. You don't need to overcomplicate it. Simple works if you stick to it. Now here's the tip I promised you, and this is what took things to another level for me. You can combine Tricon sets with two intensity techniques: pre-exhaust supersets and drop sets. Here's what that looks like in practice. Start with Tricon cable flies or Tricon band flies. Do the full 9 reps. Then immediately go into a pressing movement, like dumbbell presses, for 8 to 10 reps at a heavier weight. Because your chest is already fatigued from the flies, it's forced to do the majority of the work during the press. Your shoulders and triceps don't get to take over the way they normally would. The result is deeper chest activation than you'd ever get from pressing alone. And on your last Tricon set of the day, run a drop set. Go to failure at your working weight. Then reduce the weight by about 20 to 30% and keep going until you hit failure again. This combination pushes you into total mechanical failure and recruits every last fiber available. And you're doing it with weights that feel hard but don't put your joints at risk. I'll be honest, the first time I tried this combination, I was skeptical. It seemed too simple. But the soreness the next day told me everything I needed to know. My chest was more activated from that session than from any heavy bench press I'd done in my life, and my shoulders felt fine. That was the moment I stopped second-guessing the approach and just committed to it. Now, I want to be clear about something. I'm not a trainer. I'm not a medical professional. I'm speaking from experience. What I'm sharing is what worked for me, a 64-year-old man with a body that spent 37 years on construction sites and another decade being neglected before I woke up and decided to do something about it. Your situation might be different. If you have specific injuries or conditions, talk to your doctor before starting anything new. That's not a disclaimer. That's common sense. But if you're a man past 50 who's frustrated because nothing seems to work anymore, and you're tired of feeling beat up every time you train, I want you to know that it's not your fault. You were probably never shown a better way. Most of what's out there is designed for younger men with younger joints and faster recovery. Tricon training is different because it respects where your body actually is right now while still pushing it to grow. And that's the balance I've been chasing since I started this whole journey at 59. Not trying to become young again, just trying to become strong, capable, and physically dependable for the years I've got ahead of me. For my wife, for my kids, for my grandchildren, for myself. I watched my father lose his independence in his 70s. I watched my older brother develop diabetes and lose his mobility in his 60s. I decided that wasn't going to be my story. And 5 years later, I can tell you that the decision to train smarter, not harder, was the best one I ever made for my health. You're not too old to rebuild. I started at 59 with a garage, some dumbbells, a trap bar, and a decision. 5 years later, I'm in the best shape of my adult life. Not because I found some miracle program, because I found a smarter way to train that my body could actually sustain. Tricon training is a big part of that. You don't need anything extreme. You need something repeatable. Start with what you can do. Stay consistent and let the results speak for themselves. Consistency beats intensity. That's what I learned the hard way, and I'm glad I learned it when I did.